It's 2022, second episode of this year. How are you guys doing?
Freezing. I'm freezing cold.
Come on.
It is. I'm tired of this weather.
And you know what? And you know what? That's a good thing.
Why is that?
Well, I had my Bob Strachan. We refer to a bunch. He's been on maybe once or twice. He was talking about the idea of like fasting at the beginning of the year, and he had this cool. He does this thing. He does like a lot of cold showers and those kind of things, which I do sometimes, and they're really, really good. But he does it really regularly, and he was saying maybe next year he'll fast from heat.
Okay.
No hot water, no hot food for 21 days.
Sounds horrible.
And,
wow.
And so being cold, but there's a lot of study and a lot of benefit from cold.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think it reduces inflammation.
Yeah.
I just can't imagine though not cuddling up in a warm bed in your snuggly blankets and stuff. I don't know.
We'll see what he does.
Yeah. Well, speaking of winter and winter being your season, let's review 2021. At the beginning of 21, we identified our keywords, what our personal words for the year were, and I'd love to revisit that today and say how did that turn out? Was it expected, unexpected? Did it live up to what you felt like your missional word was? So, Brad, you want to go first?
Dun, 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 dun. Go ahead. Cue the sound effects. You know what maybe I was off key.
No, I was definitely in a different key.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It's Nashville. Hold on. What? Me. I'm just kidding.
There we go. A New Hope was mine. And it's taken straight from the archives of Star Wars. And I don't know. It was definitely a new season, a new hope.
Did you choose that off of the Star Wars concept?
No, it just kind of felt right. And then I'm like, oh, yeah, that's been used before.
Yeah.
I think someone else has a copyright on that, but I didn't care. New Hope. I felt like it's still kind of changing for me. I feel like last year was really a growth year of just trying to understand, trying to get a grip on things, just kind of a lot of changing in our world. And I think that's part of it, but just internally, I think maybe it's my age that I'm getting older, and you just start thinking differently about things and about your life and about your business and direction and what's important in your life. And you start thinking, man, I'm not that old, but I only have a few, maybe 10 years of getting stuff done and doing things, and we're not promised tomorrow, so we gotta rock and roll today.
And it was based on where we were with 2020 too.
Yeah. And so I think we all are, reevaluating a lot in our lives. And so, New Hope was something new. And I feel like it's kind of stretched on. I feel like 21 is kind of going into 22. We're all ready for things to end, like the C. I can't say it on because YouTube will ban us, but the C thing that's going on and the stock market and the financial and uncertainties and all that stuff. I kind of live in that world a little bit. And so I feel like there's a lot of uncertainty a little bit right now in our world, and I kind of don't care about it anymore. I don't care about the uncertainty. It's okay. I got to be okay with that, and I just got to be okay with me. What the world does and what's going on in the world shouldn't affect me all that much.
Right.
And it does at times, and I fight that. I think everyone does, but I want to start getting to the point where that new hope is not just about the world and what's going on in the world. The world's always been chaotic.
Right.
I mean, this is nothing new.
Right.
So how do I live in that world, I think and how do I perceive and what do I do? I'm in control of myself. I can't control the world. Is really important. So I think this year I'm going to. I know later in this episode we're going to talk about our new words, and so
great.
I've got a new word. It's actually a phrase, but
I love that.
Yeah, a new hope. So that last year was a new hope, and
living
this year's a new hope part 2. No,
what's the next one?
Only on Disney Plus.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, man, learning to live above the uncertainty is so is such like a lifelong thing, and that's something I'm learning. I've been learning for real over the last couple of years. Especially like when you own a business, like that's really hard too. Like if you own a business, you know, the stuff with 2020, all this, it's still uncertain. You know, for some people it's really good. Some people it's still really bad, but it's still very uncertain. Right now we're in a period of time where the interest rates are potentially increasing. The ride that the stock market's on and the financial markets seem to be coming to an end, and all the free money out there, all the different things that maybe made it better or seemingly better are starting to go away. So that uncertainty is still there, and truthfully, you have to somehow learn to live above the uncertainty. I've just been learning that for the last couple of years, and I don't know. It's for me. I have to like recommit it every single day to say, okay, I'm going to live with the uncertainty because I like to control things. Last year, my phrase was "winter is my season," and my personal word was strength. And it was the idea of, and we've kept "winter is my season." And again, the contest for winning the brand new "Winter is my season" sweatshirt is still on. So post about that and we'll pick a winner. But winter is my season. I've kind of explained where that came from. It's the idea that, you know, you prepare for, ideally you're preparing for the downtimes so that when the downtimes come, you can not only survive it, but somehow thrive in it. You know, in some ways there's a lot of opportunity in winter. You know, when things are down, there's a lot of opportunity if you have the strength to access that opportunity. And also when a winter for some people, sometimes a winter is something that is personal and doesn't have a lot of opportunity. And the idea that I heard a really profound statement, and by the way, I stole that from Tony Robbins, the "Winter is my season" thing. But another thing from him was he said this pretty profound statement. It was to find true happiness, you need to learn to love the situation that you're in. And man, that is like that's super really tough, right? Like, because that's not what most of us want to hear, especially if we're in a really challenging time. But it's the truth, right? Like, learning to love whatever situation you're in is the only way to be happy in that situation. And that's the idea of when you're in winter, how do you, however hard it is, how do you own it and redeem it to be something really, really good? And so that's kind of part of where that phrase came from. And, I think coming out of 21, I think you have to, I was aware that you have to gain strength physically, personally, emotionally, spiritually, like financially, in order to really thrive in those types of periods of time. And so that's why my word was strength. And I'll say over 2021, it was an odd year for us. Like, we had a lot of ups, we had a lot of down. It was a very up and down year. Net, it was a really good year, but it was a very extreme year, and in the business, and we saw that in other areas of the country, like in markets and those kind of things. It's a very extreme year, right? Like super high highs and super low lows, even socially and all kinds of So I think, it was in my perspective a period of winter. I think we're still in it, because even though there were some, like stock market hit all-time highs and like people got stimulus checks, and I know I'm talking just financially, but other things like had really good, notable, all years. I think we still had this underlying thought and idea and truth that this is not all as good as maybe some of those seem. And we know a lot of bad things, a lot of challenging things were happening then as well. And so we were in a winter. We're still in a winter. We're in this really challenging, cultural situation where so many people are at each other's throats, and we're in a winter. So, how do you own that? And every day I ask myself that question: is how do you own that winter?
Quick question for you: do you have an exit to your winter? Like, do you see a plan that, like, how long are you going to be in winter?
It's a good question.
And how long is it healthy to be in winter?
Well, so to me, like, I don't think it's something you control.
Okay.
Like,
who's controlling it?
Well, it's a season.
Okay.
In my opinion, like, I don't know when this ends. Because a good question though, because like, when do you decide that it ends?
When does it become sunny?
When does summer come around? I would say, like, okay, so if you think back in my experience, and everyone's different, right? Because there may be health winters and those kind of things. But from my experience, like 2018, 2019 were not winters. They were like thriving, times of life in some ways. There were definitely some challenging parts about it. Then we go into 2020 and there's this massive winter. In 2021, I just feel like we're still in that personally. For some people, they may be out of it. When I, for me, start to see some momentum around, okay, things are changing in a positive way and they're sustainable, then I think you start to come out of winter, at least for me.
It's good.
For some people, it may be like, hey, when I heal, it's, I'm coming out of winter. When there's a new, we all, I don't know, I know we all feel it. I don't know how quantifiable it is, but you can feel when, like, a season has ended and a new season's beginning, right? Like, in your life, a lot of times. So it's hard to articulate, but I do think there's a little of that, like, at least personally, It's like, okay, this season, it feels like this season's come to a close and this new season's starting. Like, it felt like before 2020, for me, the end of 2019 felt like a new season was approaching, and as odd as that was, and then a new season did. And for me, it meant something different than everybody else when we went through the whole COVID thing and the business challenges. It wasn't as bad as a lot of other people. But I personally felt like a changing of a season, and I haven't felt like it's changing out of that yet. I don't know. But it's not. Look, at the end of the day, though, it's not a sad thing. Like, at least the way I'm saying it, or for me, you have to find enjoyment in whatever you're in. And me personally, I'm not in a bad place. I just feel like the environment outside is cold, and that means there's some opportunity. That means there's some challenges. You got to be careful. You also have plenty to enjoy if you've set up yourself right, or depending on your situation.
Yeah, that's an interesting way to look at it, and I think what you might be saying on a collective perspective is there's something that some psychologists have coined the phrase ambiguous loss. And collectively, I think we're in the middle of an ambiguous loss. We've lost a lot of things as humans, right? We've lost other human loved ones. We've gone through illness. We've lost the way that we've done things. Like, we've been forced to change maybe the way we think about things. We work differently. We can get into the details of that. But at the end of the day, we've all collectively gone through something that feels like, when you call it winter. Other people call it a death. Other people call it loss. But there's an ambiguity to it that I think is a good way for me to think about that. Because, like you said, Brad, there's no really way to identify it and say, this is what you're going through, and this is how you control it, and this is how you change it, and this is how I change it. It's all a matter of perspective. But there is an ambiguity and a loss behind what we've all gone through. And embracing that, like you said, I love that, is that when you learn to love the situation you're in, there's some really cool things that can happen. So,
and I imagine that is a something you strive for, but you may never achieve fully. So it's not like, oh, I love But you have to, if anyone can understand, like you have to be pursuing that, right? How do I find the good in what we're doing? How do I find the opportunity where I am? How do I make sure or help next time we're in the situation, I'm not in the same situation.
And I think that's applying that to agency life is really, really interesting. I think maybe if the one good in all of this, in my opinion, is it's awakened us as leaders, as business owners, if we have teams and staff, that to be a little bit more aware and prioritize, whether it's mental health, whether it's well-being, whether it's physical, emotional, and bring that into the workplace and realize that that's not an individual issue anymore, but it's a collective issue. Because if my team and my staff are mentally healthy and I'm investing in that aspect of that, I'm going to benefit from that as a business owner, right? And a business owner, if you take care of yourself, and as a leader, then your team will benefit from that. So we got to stop seeing all these things as individual things in the workplace, but actually they're collective things that we should be investing in.
Oh, for sure.
Time, money, resources.
I mean, you depend. Even if you don't care about people, you depend on these people. You might as well make them help them be as healthy as possible, so that they can tackle their world and any issue. Their world influences your world, or or maybe the business side of the world, right? And so. That's more common these days. It's funny how it wasn't so much years ago.
A lot of stigma for years.
But that's huge. And also as a business, like you have to prepare again, like, when we look at the environment like this, like if the entire business climate is winter, and that idea, then there's a lot of opportunity there if you're ready for it. So if you were really fat from a business perspective, and you were super inefficient, and you weren't good at what you did, and you hadn't done some of this work, then when the whole 2020 thing happened, or you weren't in the right industry, or you hadn't seen the trends, or you weren't working on where your business was going, like you may not have been prepared for that, and you may have really had some big challenges. Maybe obviously a lot of businesses didn't succeed. But if you were ready for that, those challenges became opportunities, or could have been opportunities. And it's not to say that you're opportunistic in the way you go after, other people's hardship. That's not suggesting that. But the truth is like there's a phrase on this in buying stocks: buy on blood, right? Or buy when there's blood in the streets.
Buy when there's blood in the streets, even if it's your own.
Even if it's your own. There you go. So as gory and horrible as that sounds, right? The concept in it is this idea that when everything is falling apart for other businesses, if you're ready, that's when the opportunity lies.
Right.
That's right.
So if you're going to be super capitalistic and like really cutthroat, or not even really cutthroat, just a smart business person, like you have to take that and you have to plan for that. You also have to be compassionate for people that are hurting as well.
Yeah.
But from a business perspective, I mean, that's how you take big leaps forward. And so how do you plan for that in the future?
Bob, what was your word last year?
Reimagined growth.
Ooh. Yes. I want to hear about how did that go for you? Growth. How did you reimagine some things?
I think I did. You mentioned being with Brad, you and I now are in our 50s, a few years ahead of you, but I think I got to the point in my life where I was really identifying with a certain persona and way of being that I didn't want to continue going down that path. And not that it was bad at all, but I think it's really easy to get into ruts of, all right, this is what I do. This is my career. This is who I am. This is what I'm good at. This is what I'm not good at. And I think sometimes, Carl Jung, the great psychologist, said, he calls it shadow self. And that's those personality traits that we carry with us that may not be truly who we are, but they might have come from our family of origin. They may have come from what people have taught us, things that we've learned, things that we've settled for. Maybe, I really wanted to do this, but I figured if this was the safer path to go and be an accountant. And then you're 55 years old and realize, man, I hate accounting. And I think I'd kind of gotten a little bit like that. I've always kind of thought outside the box and tried to be a free thinker in my life. But I also realized that I never wanted to get stuck in a rut. So having said that, reimagine growth meant for me, I went back to school, got a master's degree started at the end of 2020, but finished in 2021. So that's kind of cool. It's opened up some interesting doors. Went to work for 5x5, have been leading a team there, doing some different things. Personal life, home life has changed a little bit. So I think that for me has been a good word to reimagine what growth looks like, because again, getting back to how I started this, my response was, I think growth looks very different, as Ken said, to every human being. And my idea of growth, maybe 2-3 years ago, what growth was, has changed. So I think I'm going to go ahead and lead out what my word's going to be this year.
Really? Here we go.
Yeah.
I want to hear. Wait, let's do a little drum roll.
Yeah. It's not going to. This is not an earth-shattering word, but it's simplify.
Ooh.
Simplify.
I like that.
So simple.
Yeah. Let me give you an illustration. I think you guys will like this. Will Smith has this new documentary series on National Geographic. I don't know if you guys have seen it.
I've heard.
Yeah, I've seen pieces of it.
Yeah.
There's this one. It's called Welcome to Earth, and I encourage everyone to go see it. It's really, really good.
It's on Disney Plus, right?
Yes, on National Geographic.
And there's their channels or their shows.
And there's this one scene where he goes out into the ocean and he's with this marine biologist woman, and they get in this big glass bubble thing, like it's a ship that goes down thousands of feet underneath the water. And it's classic Will Smith. He gets really nervous about things. And it's interesting, you would love this, Ken, that the reason he did the documentary, he said, I'm 50 years old and I've never traveled the world and done exciting. I've never slept in a tent. I've never done all these things. And he goes, because I'm scared of it, but I want to face my fears and overcome them. So he does some crazy things. And the whole time you could tell he's really scared and nervous.
It's not just the guy who's battled aliens.
Exactly.
Yes.
Or his stuntman has.
Oh,
yeah.
It wasn't him. Oh.
So they get in this big bubble, and they start going down, and he's freaking out. You can tell he's like, I got claustrophobia and blah blah blah, and it just keeps getting darker and darker and darker, and they just keep going lower and lower and lower, and it's pitch black, and they turn the lights on, they don't see anything, and there's a little jellyfish over here, over there. And probably 10 minutes into this thing, they're like, "Oh, we're at the bottom now." And he goes, and the marine biologist said, she goes, "This is what I've been dying to show you." So they turn the lights off, right? And it is like the blackest black of black, right? Yeah. And he's like, "This makes me uncomfortable." And then they turn the lights on, and then all of a sudden, all around him are these bioluminescent creatures. It looks like you're in the middle of space, and with stars that are changing colors like Christmas lights, and it's amazingly beautiful. And he's just sitting there in awe, going, "I've never seen anything so beautiful in my life." And the whole point was, at the end of it, he says, until you go into the dark and go beyond the darkness, you'll never see new light and new things that you've never experienced. And to me, I keep thinking about that because it's such a metaphor for what you're talking about earlier, was the embracing of it, and not just embrace it, but love it and engage with it. And if he would have never said, "I'm going to face my fears and I'm going to do this," he's got all the money that he wants. He doesn't need to do these things for for income necessarily. So I really believe it's probably more of a personal journey, but it's a simple illustration of getting back to this simplification. For me, I'm at a point in my life where I think the biggest journeys and the biggest adventures are not out there somewhere to conquer, but they're inside, they're personal, they're with the people that I do life with, team members at work. But it's taken a long time to get there.
I love that. I also love Will Smith. He is one of the most determined people on the planet. He always said, I think it was in one of his interviews years ago, and someone asked him, like, how did you get to where you are? And he's like, well, I wasn't that good, at acting. I wasn't that smart. I think he says all these things, but he's like, I am the person that will die on the treadmill. He's like, I will always outlast the other people.
Yeah.
He's very determined. And I think that's interesting.
Yeah, that's so funny. It's funny because my word of the year is getting jiggy with it.
I love it.
Yeah, I don't know. That's weird. It's weird.
It's so weird.
That's such a weird thing that's actually not true.
What does that mean for you?
Getting jiggy with it? Well, it's kind of getting jiggy with it.
This podcast is labeled clean so far.
Oh, I don't know.
It's clean, man. Rap.
It's a life you gotta.
Yeah, it is a clean rap.
In life,
right.
you gotta get jiggy with it.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
so what's your word? What's your word?
Okay, so
Mr. Jiggy?
man, geez, I had 1,000 things, but I started to look at these different phrases or words that I was thinking about. This idea that live while you're alive and things, and I feel maybe it's just again my season, my age, but I've really kind of just condensed it down to a very, very simple phrase. It doesn't sound. It's really personalized for me. And it is just more fun.
I love that.
Seriously, more fun. I was going to choose, yes, seriously.
That's great.
I was going to choose fun, but I realized there was a band by the name of that. And I don't know, I thought people might get confused. But more fun. I just feel like I live with this, I live with a goal of doing stuff, but it's always for a return on investment. And I realized that the best of me, I'm best when I'm laughing, when I don't have a care in the world. It's not about overthinking things. It's just about having fun. And I kind of miss that in my life. I feel like the last 5 years, I've been working hard to accumulate and help, even as the business or the family, that I just haven't taken time out just to enjoy and have fun for no other reason. Like, I think there's a part of me that feels like having fun is wasteful and that it's not important. And someday I'll have fun when I can. But right now I need to put my nose to the grindstone and do this. So I think more fun is going to be my thing. So I'll have you guys challenge me every time we get together here for this podcast. You guys need to say, how did you have more fun last week or this week? Or how are you going to have more fun?
We will do that.
For sure.
So, I love that. I was reading on, I'm part of like this kind of entrepreneurs forum thing. And there was someone challenging everyone to think about, hey, if you removed the financial gain from any action that you did, what would you be left with doing? Right? Because especially as like business owner, business minded, or just competitive type people, right? The reward is the gain, the win, the thing, and that's what is supposedly enjoyable. And there is an enjoyment. There's a pure enjoyment in that, but there's also we're striving for a financial freedom or something like that, right? So there's that side of it. And so it was interesting because this person was going through and they were like, well, I was telling myself I would really like to invest in small house real estate, because it'll do this and this, and then but at the end of the day, I wouldn't do it if it wasn't returning a good investment, it's not like purely fun in of itself. And he started to go through all these things and was like, I'm not left with many things. And the things I'm left with cost nothing. Like I can do them right now. Like I don't have to achieve anything to get them, which was a really interesting thing.
Simplify.
Simplify. So I was going through and I was thinking that same thing to myself is like what you're saying. I'm cut from very similar cloth as you, is like everything I do generally has to do with achieving something.
Yeah. And for me, it's this idea that there's not enough time or money in the world. And so it's kind of like I've got to really be focused. I can't just let myself just have fun and not worry about time. And so it is a struggle for me. And I think that's, for some people, it's not. So when I say the words more fun, they're like, shoot, that doesn't, it sounds like I'm going to get myself in trouble and go off and, and never come back. But that's not what I mean for me. For me, it's a struggle to have fun. It's a struggle just to relax and laugh. And I notice that when I laugh, I mean, I know there's a lot of data on laughing and how that even affects you, physiologically and stuff. So I notice that when I'm doing things where I'm just, gut laughing, it just, man, it's like something happens in me where it just fills me up. And it's like a chemical reaction that rechanges my brain. And I just need to find myself more in that situation. I need to push myself so that I can push myself in those situations and just relax a little bit.
There are these really interesting studies that they've done. I don't know, Bob, if you've heard of these, but I believe I'm getting it correctly, but they took someone they did stances. So, but the same with smiling and laughing.
Yeah.
But like they hooked their brain up and they measured their brain waves when they were sort of in a de-energized type of state, disempowered type state. So like, slumped over, sad, that kind of thing, and measured brain waves. And then they made the same person do like a Superman stance, and with a big smile, completely changed the way the brain was working. Mm-hmm. So having fun becomes more productive, right? Like smiling, maybe this takes away the fun.
So I'm going to embarrass.
Having fun has a return on investment, isn't that good?
I'm going to embarrass probably one of my employees, but one of my employees, this is years ago, he'd come in and he'd say, I'm doing something different or something. Maybe I caught him or something in his car, and he was like laughing and laughing. He's like, yeah, I've been trying something out. He's the kind of guy that just likes to try things out, like, just say. And he forces himself to gut laugh and was laughing in his car. Obviously, you do this on your own when you're not in public, because otherwise people think you're crazy. That's right. Yeah. But you just gut laugh, and it's almost like you laugh at you start to really laugh because it's so funny. You laugh at yourself, and it can really give you those, I don't know, I've got to do more research on it.
Your chemical makeup changes.
Your chemical makeup changes, yeah.
You release different chemicals in your brain.
Yeah, and so, I don't know if it's dopamine that you get from laughing, and that's, I think, what I need to do. So again, it's very personal, more fun. It's really more, it's not for our business, not for my business. But it is for my business, because I think that everyone wants to see me have more fun. I notice that when I'm more lighthearted, when I'm not as serious, when everything doesn't have to, you can just take more risk. I feel like I'm more apt to just, it's this idea almost like that I need to care less. And I know that sounds so strange, because some people, they need the opposite of that. But for me, I almost need to let go and care. It's just let go, I think. It's not really caring. I do care, but just letting go. And it's like I'm caring because I'm letting go. I'm, allowing things to, other people to rise to certain occasions when I let go. And I think that's part of just enjoying. Like, I want to enjoy this life. I don't want to always feel like it's against me or my own self is against me. I feel like that's probably I'm my worst enemy. I feel like I go through life and I'm like, and I noticed that I have philosophical issues with how what I should be doing in this world, and what my role in this world is, and what my role is as a father, and what my role is as a business owner. And sometimes the intention is good, but the way I'm going about it doesn't really help anybody. It doesn't help when I'm grouchy and I'm grinchy and all that stuff, and I can't. It's okay to be that way for a small portion, but when you get yourself in a funk, you gotta change.
It's it's funny. Yeah, it's hard to do that. Like having letting go. The truth is other people have told me this, and I've tried to, and I've had to be intentional about trying to do it, and it's still really hard to do. But there's an illusion of control, right? Like you're not actually in control, and as a business owner or something like that, that can be the case. Like you can think, and most people like that are kind of control freaks. I know I am, but the fact is like this illusion that you're controlling everything when you're not, and what you're doing is maybe you're suffocating it in some ways.
And
so letting it go, you can do more.
Yeah, and I'm also putting way too much emotional energy into something that I think I have control of that I don't.
Right.
And it's wasteful.
And you look at that and it's wasteful. Right, that's exactly it. And then you can actually do more if you can kind of let go of things, because you can be okay with, some of the supposed chaos to you that it seems like, because you're not holding it tight, but it's not.
Absolutely.
And even having fun and being and enjoying what you do and being in a good state, that takes intention too. And you almost have to prime that, like it's like a muscle. Every single day you have to work it out. You have to be like, okay, how am I going to smile and laugh right now? I love what your guy was doing with laughing in his car, because that's super true. Like you need to be intentional about doing it.
Yes.
I remember many, many years ago when I was starting out in the agency world, and I was doing sales, and told you guys about this, 2 old guys, partners. One of them was a chain smoker in the office, and I remember one of them saying, when you call on these people, and I had a yellow page book that I was going through, when you call on these potential customers, make sure you smile while you're talking to them, because they know it when you smile.
That's crazy. Yeah.
And that's really true.
It is.
They teach
it's crazy,
this
though.
in sales. Like when you get on the phone and you smile, you can hear it and you can feel it on the other person. So I think that's a strong lesson. That's a simple lesson, that having fun, laughing, smiling.
Well, hold on, I'm adjusting my posture.
Shake it out.
It doesn't just affect
you,
but it affects the other person around you too. Like they get a vibe from it, and it is contagious.
And the reverse is contagious too.
Sure, absolutely.
Right, like that negative energy is super contagious too, and that's something that there you go. You're smiling like a crazy person
you
right now.
You can't see this, but I got a huge smile on my face right now.
Smile at the camera.
Oh, there you are. Yeah, I know that. I know but for those who can't see.
Yeah.
Okay, so fun, simplify.
No, not fun. More fun.
More fun. I'm sorry, more fun.
More fun.
You got me laughing this morning, which is great.
That's right.
I love it. More fun. Man, I want more fun. I should choose that one.
Who doesn't like more fun?
Here's what I'll. I'll just put a period on or just a transition. I found back when we kind of moved more remote and that kind of stuff, and I have a bunch of little kids, like I was feeling like I needed more fun with my kids before that happened, and I got that. And I would say the more fun thing in my world, and maybe that's in other people's worlds, I just want, when I went through that list of like, what would I do if I wasn't getting paid for it? Almost nothing. But like the only thing I would do, and only fun things I think that I was left with, were relational things. So time with my kids and my family, and like doing things and playing football and that kind of stuff, or going out with you guys and other people. Like it was all that type of stuff, right? That's the only thing I don't get paid to do. There's no return on that investment, right? So anyway, I'll leave you with that. My word is Oh, that's good. That's a better one. My word is leverage.
Ooh.
So
that sounds compelling.
it is. So it's not like
there you go.
You're good. You're good with that.
I meant for applause.
How did you've had that up your sleeve the whole time?
Oh yeah, you think that's great? Oh, that's nothing.
Oh. All right. More fun. Leverage.
I'm leveraging myself.
So we talked about time management and some of that stuff last time, and I find myself in a period of time in my life where, both from a life trajectory standpoint, and also just because I don't want to. To date, I'm as spread thin as as I've ever have been.
Yeah, because
I've got business.
I don't think
I've got a bunch of different things. I've got a new baby. 3 other kids.
Yes.
Yeah. Wife. All kinds of other things that are to do with that time of life, that period of life. And so I find myself not wanting, I don't want to overwork or be stressed out. I want to let go more. Like that is something that I've been working on probably for 2 years now, letting go. It's this phrase that I have written on my board right in my office, which is you can lift more if you loosen your grip, which is a weightlifting thing. Like, you get the tighter you grip, you hurt I actually currently have like a sore elbow from it, but like you hurt your elbows and you can lift less. Like you have to loosen your grip, but it sounds counterintuitive. But it's the same in life. I feel like it's so profound. So I've been trying to work on that, like that idea of letting go and not controlling things. But in order to do more things, you have to be able to do that. And I define that as leverage, just this idea that I need to try and let go so that I can leverage the resources I have to the maximum ability. So that's time I spend. When I spend time doing business things, I want them to be the most impactful things, which means a bunch of things can't get done that are not that. And I have to be okay with that, letting that go. From the standpoint of, where we are in our business and in my life, like making sure that we have make maximum impact with the position that we are in, the resources and those kind of things, because I believe that that's a stewardship thing. I believe that's a godly thing. Like that's something that drives my life and something I'm pretty driven towards. It's just maximizing what I have to do the best. It's not about the most money. It's just about how do I make the most of what I've been given and do the best in the world with it and do the best for my family with it, all that kind of stuff. And time with my kids and my family, making sure we're having fun and we're doing the right things. And if, what are we saving money for when we're 90 for? Like if you can do something and enjoy it now, I'm not saying be financially stupid, but those kind of things. And so leverage.
Yeah,
that's good.
I like that.
Well, we will circle back around in a year and find out how we've done with these.
Yeah, you guys. Yeah. Well, next week you guys needed to ask me where I've had more fun.
I think we should ask all of us.
Yeah, what are you leveraging?
Yeah. What are you leveraging, and how have I simplified?
Oh, I was going to do the fun. I mean the fun thing, but yeah, we do the other.
Yeah, more fun.
Not fun. More fun.
More fun.
Because I think just fun is not enough fun.
Mm-mm.
You need more fun.
More. Maybe on Fridays we can break away and cut out work early and go to the movies in the afternoon.
Have more fun.
Ooh, now you're talking. I love movies.
Yeah, get your AMC pass.
My daughter, she's in California going to college, and she's my movie pal. So I've missed going to the movies.
What happens when the fun thing stresses you out?
Oh, fun doesn't stress me out.
Well, no. I mean, let's say something's going on.
Yeah.
Friday afternoon that you need to attend to, business wise. And
yeah, that's that's like oil and water.
I'm just saying.
Boy,
I feel that I always
I think it's a matter of...
I think you have to have fun.
How valuable is it
to you?
You have
to put fun a priority. Like you have to say, I'm putting fun in my calendar. So therefore, nothing else can take over
so that you don't have
fun.
Anxiety around the fun.
Exactly. Fun's going to go on my calendar. I'm going to put a block of calendar things called fun.
See, it's interesting because you see that as leveraging something for good. You see it as more fun, and I see it as simplifying our lives for good. Yeah. So look at that.
One thing can fulfill 3 purposes.
Wow.
More fun.
Well, 2022, guys.
It's going to be a good year.
Let's go get it.
It has to be a good year.
Awesome.
Yes.
So we're going to start a new series. So tune in next week. We're going to start talking about the myths of agency life, and we're going to do some myth busting. So we're going to start a myth busting series.
I like that.
Yeah, let's do it.
One of my favorite shows on the Discovery Channel, Mythbusters.
I like it too.
This is not Mythbusters. This is myth busting.
This is my
This is like active.
Yeah,
It's like active. It's not passive.
It's more fun than Mythbusters.
That's right.
Okay.
Till next time, guys.
See ya.
See ya.
Bye.